do like the intro or anything this time because I'm running late. I had to take care of a lot of things this morning. Stinks that, you know, sometimes that happens, but it happens. It was good. I felt productive. But I can't let this go to the side. You know, there's a part of me that's like, just push it back. You're talking to, oh yeah, I've got a new, I'm going to be talking to Andrew Triggs at 1 o'clock. So I was like, man, can I fit this in? Is that all right? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're just going to do 3 teams. We're not going to push ourselves. We got these guys to handle. Okay? We can do this. It's like, what, 14 guys, 15 guys? It should generally be 15, but I already did Ranger Suarez yesterday because we're dope. Something to note is we're doing a couple things. I'm recording on the corner tonight with Fast. Also have our dev meeting. There's a chance that I'll be free in the early evening to kind of knock some others out. There are some things I do have to take care of, but that should be fine. I'll wait for you guys to kind of get settled in. I got to put this up on. Create an event somewhere else. HTTPS twitch.tv/Petro. So we got to put this up on Discord. Start time is now, so it must be in the future, they say. Okay, fine. Till 12:30. Yes. Create the event. We're gonna start it now. Yeah, it started. All right. Hey, thanks for being here. Y'all are dope. Another viewer, JYD, Rogue, Caxips. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Yeah. All right. So if you don't know this, what I'm doing, I got this wave of projections from our staff. They're awesome. Frank Hall and Aiden Hall and Frank Bruni. And I'm going over it. Just going through the basics of it and saying, all right, you know, I want to make these adjustments or whatever. So we've gone through a ton. I'm going to get an update later today that is going to assign all of these free agent pitchers, which is great. And then I'll be going over in another stream as we try to make our way through all of those. Essentially what I'll be doing is I'll be going through the ones I've already done, and then assessing them and then adding it on. So, I mean, the goal is by like Friday essentially to be done with this. It's Tuesday. Hopefully by Friday we've gone and done projections for every single pitcher, which is kind of nuts, but why not? I did Ranger Suarez or yesterday as one extra one because I just wanted to say it really quickly. He's not very good, guys. Don't buy into Ranger Suarez. I can't say that enough. Like, just don't. He's not that good. He isn't. I mean, this is still fine, but this is a Toby, you know? I don't see why. I don't see why I do it. I gotta send a very quick email. Hold on. Cool. I got that taken care of. That's good. Sorry, there's like all these. Right now is the time of 20 million moving parts that I'm just trying to not you know, I'm actually decently organized, surprisingly enough. But I got to communicate this, got to talk to this, got to, you know, just make sure that we're all doing the thing we're not. And I'm sure there are going to be things that slip through the cracks, and that's just kind of how it is. But I don't know. My engine runs on this. Okay, I'm going to stop stalling. Why would I possibly be stalling when it's Zack Wheeler we're going to talk about? So you want to know my favorite thing about Zack Wheeler? And yeah, kind of one of the funniest things I think about what I do as I need to pull this in closer so we get a better frame here. I think one of the funniest things is I often show up in a certain year and say, hey guys, this is a cool new thing or a cool thing that I believe in more so than the market does for whatever reason. Good example, hey, I'm really into Erin Nola and like y'all should be in on Erin Nola. That's a cool thing. Or hey, CSW is a thing and we should focus on that, right? Why I phrased it like that is simply because I was in on it before. There's a certain point when the market shifts and, you know, once it becomes more of an apparent thing, like for example, Erin Nola became really huge. Just because I was into Erin Nola in 2016 and 17 doesn't mean I'm in on him in 2019, right? And 18 was a major year, and then 2019 is when he fell back, right? I wasn't in on Erin Nola because I liked him when he was, you know, I had ranked at like 24th in 2018 and became like the 5th best. I felt that the market was so high in Erin Nola now that I was out, right? And it's similar in CSW. And the reason I want to say that is because Zack Wheeler's CSW is only 29.5 and isn't as elite as like Corbin Burns and Cole and other guys. And I think it's because there's a idea that CSW is this holy grail of stats, and it's not. I think it's a really good one to showcase just overall ability and dominance. But there are certain skill sets that speak to having a lower CSW, and that one is an effective fastball. A fastball that generates outs in play constantly. So 61% fastball usage. That's across four seamers and sinkers. I know it's weird on our page, but don't worry about that. 72% strike rate with a 236 batting average allowed. This is the core of Zack Wheeler and how he is one of the best IPS pitchers in the majors. 213 innings pitched, right? Ridiculous. Why? Because he throws such effective fastballs at 97. 61% usage. It's really crazy. Actually, this is 30% CSW, higher than the 29.5. But the problem is that the changeup is not an effective pitch. The curveball, it doesn't really do enough of 57% strike rate. Good CSW. Essentially, this was telling me that, yeah, O swing is low. It's not being swung and not put into play. So when it's a ball, it's just often taken as a ball, and they're not even swinging at it. It's not really what you want. But the slider is the interesting one. And actually, I'm going to tell you right now, I think this 27.5% CSW is going to change for Zack Wheeler. I think it's actually a potential of being a lot higher in the future. While, you know, so you see the 29.5% CSW. I actually don't think that necessarily it's going to change necessarily. But I guess I don't want this to terrify people. But all right, so a couple things. Zack Wheeler's not going to throw 213 innings again. I hope the Phillies bullpen is better. But it shouldn't be 192. I'm going to put him as a 203. I don't see why he doesn't make 32 starts. So I'm going to say this. I mean, how many starts did he make this past year? I feel like he went all of it, right? Yeah, 32 starts at 213. I'm just going to pull it back a little. ERA and whip. This is ridiculous. Why are we having Zack Wheeler at a 115? Oh, right, because he had a 117, 120. Okay. I'm going to put him at a 106. I think his ability is still fantastic, and a 315. 24% is wrong. We're going to put him at a 27.8. There we go. And that's, yeah, no, I'm going to keep him at a 5.8. I'm going to bring him down. There you go. He led the league with 100.2 pitches per start. Hey, what's up, Spinna? Good to see you, man. Good morning. That's an interesting one. You know, I've been thinking a lot about like, man, there have been so many of these stats that like I don't think we talk about enough. One is pitches per out. Pitches per start is another. Out percentage. Anything that kind of showcases the ability of like he's a workhorse. You know, that I think in the fantasy world we don't look at enough. And we don't really have a good frame of reference for it. IPS is another. To really showcase the ability of the pitcher that we should be rewarding, right? And it's no shock that like out percentage and ERA is correlated. Duh, you know, you're getting more outs. But pitches per out is a very fascinating one to me and kind of shows efficiency. That's kind of why I've been into strike percentage a lot. Hey, what's up, Wellington? Thanks a lot for chatting, by the way. It's good to see you. And never hesitate to ask any more questions in the future. So why isn't Freddie Peralta getting top 10 buzz? Well, why should he? I understand that he put up amazing ratios last year, but not the most volume. It was under 150. He has only 2 pitches. That is a fastball that's really hard to hit and a slider that was surprisingly well commanded this past year. I have worry in 2 forms. One, he doesn't have the ceiling of a 200-inning guy. He's going to still be in some way camp counseled, which is my term for Craig Counselor limiting his pitchers in Milwaukee. Like, for example, you saw 167 from Corbin Burns this year, right? You didn't see 180, 190. We probably will see around that for Freddie Peralta. So already you have some cap ceiling in the world of Walker Buehler and Max Scherzer and Garrett Cole and so on. Brandon Woodruff, his teammate, getting more expected innings. The other side is it was really one season of excellence. Smaller sample for it. Not a ton of depth. It's just a 2-pitch offering. And the fact for me that he throws cross body. Freddie Peralta is slated on the third base side of the rubber and then steps in his line with the first base side. And that generally causes chaos. There's a reason why he had a near 10% walk rate. That isn't going away. And I do worry that the whip is going to go up because the hit per 9 can't be replicated. That's a huge question. So I have him. What did I put him at? I put him at a 111 whip. That's actually might be, better than expected. I might even put him at 112 for 13, bring it down a little, because of that walk rate. Yeah, I probably should, honestly. Put him at 113. So I have him 165, 113, 354, and this is still really good. Like, I'd be really happy with Freddie Peralta, but there is going to be a little bit more volatility in it and not as much of the volume as other guys. So it's actually very comparable to Trevor Rogers, what I have. 165, 171, 130, 1345, 354, 113, 116, 26 versus 30, right? So I prefer Peralta for more strikeouts and slightly better whip, but yeah. Hey, good to see you too, JT. Thanks a lot for commenting, man. It's always more fun when you guys are asking these questions because that's why I do it. I just want to talk about this stuff as much as possible. So anyway, we changed all of Zach Wheeler's projection. No surprise there. Hey, thanks a lot, Rellington. All right. Okay, so then Erin Nola. I don't think this is how I feel either. Erin Nola, there are 2 elements. Actually, I want to stay on Wheeler for a second. Strike percentage just got to go up. Just got to go up. This isn't going to be the answer. This just needs to get called strikes more. And I want this to go up. I'm surprised at the high swing strike rate on it. Just this is too bad. It should not be a 38% zone rate. This should be like a 45 to 50. Because he wants to be throwing this early. Yeah. Oh man, this is such a helpful thing. Yeah, he throws it 50% of the time early. So when he throws curveballs, rate of pitches thrown in 00, 01, and 11 counts. So how often this curveball is thrown? When this curveball is thrown, how often is it early in the count as opposed to late? So he doesn't throw it when he's behind, which actually honestly like 2-0, 2-1, he maybe should 1-0. Oh, 1-0 doesn't count for this. Okay. Right, because this all needs to add up to 100. Gotcha. Pitch thrown 2 strike counts. Oh, he used it as a 2-strike pitch. Interesting. This should go up. I think 2-strike count for sliders should go way up this year. Like, it should not be matched with a 4-seamer. You know? But yeah, he leaned on his fastball and slider lane the count and then curveball early. Yeah, he pumps fastballs. Yeah. Doesn't he throw sliders, curveballs off fastballs like DeGrom? Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, this curveball should be not saved for 2-strike. Like, it's kind of shocking to me to see this in 2-strike stuff. This should be like the show me early in count and then just demolish some of the 4-seamers and sliders late in the count, right? Early behind 2-strike. So I could say late, but I mean, it's really just 2-strike stuff. This is a cool thing, by the way, if you guys haven't used this before. The location stuff is a little weird, so be careful using this right now with our current data. It's a little dirty, but will be fixed in PL7. I think it already is fixed in our back end or something like that, or just a couple things that we are fine-tuning there. But this is actually a really cool way of quickly getting a glance of what the visual heat map is, and of course we'll also have a heat map. But you can actually see the percentages and compare, which is really cool. Think of this like, this is actually more useful, I think, in this, because you can essentially, you can say, hey, pitch types, all right, 4-seamers, located, once this loads, and we have a new animation, which is cool. We have a loading animation now, which is a P filling up, which is really cool. But you can see actually like who throws the most arm side fastballs, and Adrian Morejon did that, right? I think that's really cool. This is the purpose of why I wanted to create these stats. Because yeah, sure, you're gonna look at the heat map and you're gonna understand what all these are just innately by looking at the heat map. But to see like, okay, J.A. Happ throws arm side 4-seamers, you know? Let's see with sliders. Like, this should not be. You don't want this. Oh yeah, but that's because it's weird, Rich Hill. Yeah, and Chapman failed that. But you want really glove side. Like, this is, see, 90%. Like, some guys are really good at that. Should always be throwing it glove side, like down and away, to the opposite hand of this. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, again, this is all messed up data a little, so be careful. But changeup should be arm side, for example. 100%. Blake Snell never failed, never tugged a changeup. That's pretty cool. You never tugged it. Never even like put it in the middle. He always overshot it or put it on the outside corner. I love that. But yeah, that definitely use this. Like this should be more used, if you ask me, in the one, especially when PL7 launches. I'd argue having 30% split with 2 strikes is good. Now you don't know what's coming. Well, yes and no, because this is an easier pitch to hit, right? If this is thrown 50% of the time in 2 strikes, you still don't know, right? If it's 50-50 fastball slider, you should be thinking that. Make sure you maybe throwing a surprise, curveball or so in there too. But 30% to me for the pitch that I think works best out of the zone, I think you should be doing that. Oh yeah, all lefties. Yeah, well, right. I think that's the problem. I think part of our messy data is that we have it overshifted. So yeah, that's probably why that was like that. Great call with that. So like arm side for righty was actually close in the middle. Yeah. Anyway, so Erin Nola, who was here and now he's gone. Yeah, so we know this. I think honestly the most staggering stat to me about Erin Nola was that 40% fly ball rate. Look at all these other fly ball rates. What? That's not good. I mean, that's everything. So while this number was lower dramatically, he threw 13 points more of fly balls, which meant that this actually wasn't so far off. And then that worries the left on base rate. There's a really good article written by Chad Young talking about this men on base. I highly encourage you guys to read it. But he actually really focuses on Erin Nola just in general wasn't as good from the stretch in placement than he was with bases empty. You maybe is wondering if there's a mechanical issue. I don't know if I'm there might be something slight, maybe about timing of stuff from the stretch, which is a common thing. But it's a really great piece. You guys should read it, and you know, maybe you guys can see something I don't see. But anyway, okay, so I want to talk about changeup. Did a good job of limiting those foul balls or fly balls, which is good. Not as high of a CSW as in previous years, though. 31% in previous years, not now, as he just didn't get called strikes with it. Okay, but he got overall strikes. They were swinging more at this and then making contact. So, actually a little higher swing percentage, a little more contact. Not actually that ridiculous, honestly. Huh. Zone rate went up, but called strike rate went down. So that means Z swing should have gone up. That's got to be where it is, because O swing went down. So the swing percentage we're seeing going up is in the zone, which is not great. Anyway, fastball got clobbered more fly balls. Curveball is still one of the best in the game, guys. 73% in the 200 batting average allowed. It's like one of the best, one of the highest CSW pitches. This is always going to be there. The question is if this is going to get demolished or not again. And you see how he's zone right, you kind of think, oh, that's good, right? He's throwing lots of strikes, throwing the zone and stuff. I think Erin Nola is a nibbler in a good way. And I think this means he's throwing too many mistakes because of that high fly ball rate. I think that's just that simple. Batting average allowed is, or BABIP was 316, which is bad. If you look at the batted ball, again, even more in depth, you're going to see where is a bacon. 356 all the way back up. That's what was bad in 2019, was bad again in 2021. So I don't think that it's going to be a 4.63. I mean, the whip is probably the same, maybe even slightly better. Like 119 just seems so egregiously wrong. 117, yeah. I'm gonna say he's gonna honestly do the same whip. I don't really see that. They're saying it's okay. So you got a little lucky with it being home runs and maybe some. He got lucky with the walk rate. I don't really think he was. But I think he got unlucky with balls in play too. So they kind of like normalize each other. So like the walk rate's gonna go up slightly, but the hits are gonna go down. I think they're gonna be pretty even. So I'm gonna keep that 112. I'm gonna say the ERA is gonna fall down to a 3. We'll say 3.65. Which seems right to me. Now the one thing that we really should be emphasizing here for Nola is that he should be a workhorse for them. So I'm gonna put him here. Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna put him pretty high. The strikeout rate should be pretty good still. So, yeah, let's even push this up a little more. So this is pretty comparable, is the thing, right? Comparable to like the Trevor Rogers, to the Freddie Peralta. The one thing you do get is volume out of this, is why I'm going to have Nola higher, and there's also, of course, upside for more. Especially if he nibbles and the called strike rate went down on changeup. Oh, you're saying for the walk rate? Yeah, I get that. But anyway, that's what I'm going to have for Erin Nola. I feel that's pretty favorable. I don't think it's going to be like a 310, but there's a chance of that. There's also a chance of the defaulter still. Yeah, Mariners are going to be either late or going to be like at 6 o'clock tonight. Probably, if I were to do it tonight, it'd probably be at 7. And then because like I want to eat. No, I got to think about this. What am I going to eat? I gotta figure out what I'm eating today, because I can't really eat before. Oh man, all right. Well, I'll figure it out. I don't want to eat before the podcast, or you know what? If I were to do it again today, it'd probably be around 5 o'clock. That's what I would do. And then I'd eat around 7. Yeah. So cooking with Nick. But yeah, if I were to do that, it would be Seattle, San Francisco, and St. Louis tonight. This guy is not going to be the one. Yeah, they don't have the. San Francisco is going to be kind of skipped over because we have like 3 signings to assign to them. And then it'll be then I'll knock these 4 out tomorrow morning, and then we're just gonna do yeah, that'd be great. And then we can just do free agent updates for Thursday, tomorrow night, Thursday, and Friday. That'd be cool. But all right, let's keep moving. So Kyle Gibson. And by the way, guys, thanks so much for all your subs, for your follows, everything like that. If you guys have Amazon Prime, it's absolutely free to sub. Helps me out for no cost at you. So consider doing that if you can. And also you get to hear our hilarious sub sound, which is my nose. Me making a ka-chunk sound during a podcast once that I have amplified. All right, so Kyle Gibson, if you remember Kyle Gibson, it was a tale of two halves. He was the ultimate Vargas rule for the first 3 months of the year. 16 starts, 198 ERA. We were like, this is great and not going to hold whatsoever. I mean, just not a chance, like at all. Oh, man, if I could do that. Huh. I'm going to see if in season we can add. It wasn't part of my plan. I'm going to see if we can change how the date works so that we can actually do pitch date ranges in season. Just within one season, not across multiple. But I would really love to see I would really love to see like first half, second half stuff, you know? Oh, thanks so much for the follow, Spinablex. You're awesome. Yeah, you guys will know when I go live because I know I go live randomly these days, so you'll get a notification that you can turn off, of course. But you'll know when I go live in the future. But anyway, what I'm getting at is things were looking great. Fastball and slider were working, and then they weren't. I mean, let's see which one was the one that really faltered. Both of them. You couldn't get away. Wow, cutter was good and the cutter was bad. I think I imagine what happens is they changed pitch types. So this is. Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. So I gotta change this now. So yeah. So he threw. Let's see. More cutters in the second half. No shock there. Reduce the changeup and curveball usage, though. He didn't change the slider and fastball. It's funny. Hey, this one's actually split up. Look at that. Wow. Sinkers were not very good. Batting average allowed a ton. Called strikes, sure, but they got burned by it a decent amount. Slider, I think, was the pitch that was really working for him when he was on. And oh yeah, right now it's all coming back to me. The story of Kyle Gibson. Man, when I wrote this piece back, like, how many pieces have been written about Kyle Gibson? Because there was one way back. Nope. That was 2017. Actually, I wrote one at the end of 2017, I think. Maybe it was 2018. Ah, come on. Where are you? That's nice about Kyle Gibson. I wrote something about Kyle Gibson. Did I not tag him? I probably didn't. That's not how you spell your name, Nick, because sometimes the C on my keyboard doesn't work. Taking a chance on Kyle Gibson slider. Here we go. Control F your name. Oh, yeah, that would have been smart. Oh, it was February of 2018. Okay. So this was back, if you remember Kyle Gibson, look at this. 2017, he had a 5.07 ERA. Like, he's the joke of fantasy. There's no way Kyle Gibson, 153, 156, like, there's no way Kyle Gibson is good, right? So I wrote this before the 2018 season. just being like, hey, look what he did. 605. Then last 8 starts, he actually did decent things. You know, like what happened? But it was more of essentially the slider being a thing. It held a 186 ISO, did this, solid P-Val. 26.5. It actually wasn't whiff rate, it's swing strike rate because I was confused at the time. But the idea here is like, hey, Kyle Gibson, your slider isn't bad. Increase your slider usage. And it was really good. So he did that. And he had a 130 whip. It was like a kind of a startling start of the season. And then what happened in 2019 for Kyle Gibson was slider and changeup weren't as good. He had moments where he was okay with the sinker and stuff, but it wasn't really. And then he went off to Texas and wasn't very good. And then he got traded. He got traded midseason from Texas to the Phillies. So at the end of the day, though, if you look back at swing strike rates for his slider, I mean, seriously, this is why it was great that he leaned on it. 27% swing strike rate is crazy, right? Really good. And he was throwing it against righties a ton, burying it. He wasn't doing that much against lefties. He didn't increase it, which was nice. But this was just such a filthy offering, okay? Changeup, though, changeup was excellent. Changeup was this ridiculously filthy pitch, righty on righty. Wow, look at that. 25, 24, 27% swing strike rate against righties with it, okay? That's really, really good, and it's now gotten so much worse. That changeup just cannot return to what it used to be. I mean, it's gone. So he tried this cutter to try and get more strikes. Didn't really work. Slider was still really, honestly, I think a fantastic pitch. It's just about, hey, can I get by with the fastballs or not? And it's pretty much the answer is no. So that's Kyle Gibson in a nutshell. Do I think that he is going to have the same possibility of a first half? Yes, I think there is a chance. So I'm going to say 4.25 with a 1.31. Okay. I think that's him. I think he's going to have a decent high hit per 9. As far as his walk rate, sure, why not? That sounds fine. Good projection, guys. Good projection. More starts, though. He's going to be starting all the time for the Phils. So 185. 30 starts, 185. This isn't going to change. They need him to be a workhorse. He started 30 games last year. Did this. Yeah. Sounds great. Actually, I'll give you a 178 because of things. Not gonna do Hans Kraus because I don't think you're gonna be a guy for them. It's currently that we're gonna have Zach Eflin come back. I gotta make sure Zach Eflin is mentioned here. And yeah, I'll be taking a day and going through that too. I might be doing that actually like the week before launch. Just to, you know, just to double check and input them inside the back end there when everything is, you know, I don't want to update them twice, is what I'm saying. Like I might do those guys. Like what's going to happen as we lead up to launch is like I'm going to be going to the back end of every single player essentially and saying like, is there a projection and is it okay? Does it look good? You know, which is going to be one heck of a day. Let me tell you. I'm gonna be so bored out of my mind. I might actually stream that. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys. I was planning on this. I'm planning on doing like a preview stream of PL7 before the launch. Because this year, I mean, I've made it clear to the devs and everything that like we are not working up to the finish line. Like I want to be like a video game. I want to go gold, you know. So I want to lock it in and stuff. Which means then I can edit like the staging site and everything like that. But anyway, sorry, Rellington. Sorry, I missed your question before. Somehow missed it. Thoughts on the Tanner Houck breakout And if Paddy Sandova is still an under-the-radar guy to target for cheap. Can get to the question whenever. Check out the website. It's unreal. Oh, thanks so much, man. Yeah, it's a cool thing, right? Don't you... Oh. You just seen the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing. But yeah, it's... I'm realizing I'm going to be talking so much today. I got to be careful. I have the Triggs podcast. I might be streaming again later. I have the dev meetings, and then I have Alex Fast at 10:30 tonight. So I gotta be careful with my voice. So with Tanner Houck, I don't actually see the same breakout that some do. There are some worries. So we're gonna go up here. Tanner Houck, 3.9, 124, 22 starts, 140. So this part already is capping him. I would not be pushing hard for Tanner Houck just because the guy hasn't pitched enough yet, and the Red Sox have showed that not only are they not willing to commit to Houck, they also limit him in starts. He's not a 6 IPS guy. He's a guy that goes like 4.2, 5 innings, right? It should change over time, but still. He should get a lot of strikeouts because of the slider, but the slider is not as good as we want it to be yet. It's kind of like Barrios is in the sense of we expect great things and it's just not quite being that great thing yet. Maybe the splitter does form, but I think that's still going to be time. There's going to be a decent high walk rate. Like, we will see starts of just 12 strikeouts in 5 innings and go, oh my God, everything is amazing. But there will be struggles, and it's very risky. It could work out. I could be an idiot, but I wouldn't be chancing it. Especially, like, I think I saw someone put in top 40 or something, like top 35. I don't remember. And I thought that was wrong. I was like, I don't see how that works. I'm sorry to that person. But it's just not me. Paddy Sandova. So I put him at just better. I think for Sandoval is definitely the same with Houck, but they're both the reason why I don't like projections. When I go up to Houck up there, the inning's fine, but yeah, there is a wide variance of low and high that could happen with him, right? He could really develop and soar. I think there's a higher chance of Sandoval soaring because he has two offerings that are super legitimate in his changeup and his slider. And he's going to get the opportunities. Like, the Angels are not going to say no. The reason I actually have lower starts and innings is only because of his injury. Not because I think that the Angels are just going to stop him as much. So I think Sandoval is a better play I think he's going later. So like Sandoval is 226, while Houck is 197. I would much rather have Sandoval. Yeah. So hopefully that covered all the bases there. So let's go to the Brewers. Oh, cool. We got coffee cakes. I'm not going to talk about you. I'm not going to talk about... I could not care. What do they have for him? This? Sweet. You're good. Is Brault even like... I thought Brault left the team. Could have sworn. Yeah. Oh my God, this is all so different. Okay, we are just doing this. Hey, thanks so much, Allington. Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, free agent, I think. Well, no. Was he non-tendered? What was it? Did he go off to like KBO or something? But what was the... How did he become a free agent? He DFA'd. They DFA'd him. Okay. Hey, man, I got to get this stuff done. Thanks for being here. So, free agent, trade. I guess these are the last two that I'm just like, I do not care. And I'm going... I got to actually assess these two. I really don't want to. Is there someone else coming up soon that I'm forgetting? What a name. Travis Swaggerty. God. Yeah, Mitch Keller. Oh, Contreras. Okay, I'm going to add him to the list. Don't forget him. Yeah, hooray. I remember him. There's Kranick as well. And Mitch Keller. Okay. So there are going to be a decent amount of Pittsburgh guys that I'm going to have to touch, I'm sure. Coffee Cakes. We got to talk about him now. Yes. What's up, G-Bov? Is it G-Bove or G-Bov? What would you like me to call you? I can just call you a different name, too. Brubaker. It's JT. For whatever reason, is coming in as Jonathan here. G-Bove. You got it. So the reason Fast and I were kind of interested in Brubaker and Coffee Cakes for a little bit was because of the slider. 70% strike rate, 39% CSW, 193 batting average allowed, right? In 2020. We were like, hey, Coffee Cakes has a nice slider. The strike rate went down and it got hit around a little bit more, but still excellent elite pitch. 25% swing strike rate, money pitch, all of the fun stuff. Yeah, I got it. Right? Money pitch. So the problem is fastballs. Are they going to get beat up? Are they not? And I think when he was doing really well, he was getting more strikes with them. Batting average allowed was fine. But I mean, this was always a worry of it, right? Thing is, all the other stuff is not good. Curveball doesn't really do enough. 53%. My God, that's a low strike rate. Changeup is, I mean, don't throw this, Brubaker. 400 batting average allowed. You probably only did against lefties. Yeah, 12% usage against lefties and barely touched it against the righty. That's probably a misclassification, honestly. So, yeah, it's not enough. Like, batting average allowed from lefties were 393. So you shouldn't be really throwing that. Curveball is probably the one that you should be maybe. I mean, did you throw against lefties? Yeah, okay. Threw more against lefties. Just be that. That's your mix-up against lefties. And then just throw sliders righty. I mean, throw sliders to both. The story, though, I mean, the beginning of the year, I mean, we're talking effective called strikes with fastballs, right? Getting those strikes that he needed so they set up sliders. Then all of a sudden, 8 out of 31. Now, keep in mind that these are not the best teams. This is a little intimidating. But the Cubs, Milwaukee, Twins, Cardinals, right? He had a tough one against the Padres a little bit, but okay, did well. And then he hit a wall about here. And what happened here? Fastballs got crushed. Didn't go his way here. It's all home runs. You can probably figure that out from this. If you have, like, you should probably have, like, mental notes of what a good whip and a good ERA is. And generally, I think it's around every 20 is the next ERA. So, like, 3 is at 100. Okay? Sorry, a 3 is like a 1 whip. 4 is like a 120. 5 is a 140. You with me there? That's a very loose thing. You know, there's ups and downs and stuff. But if you think about like a 4 ERA pitcher, you're like, yeah, like a 120 or 122, stuff like that, right? If you think like a sub 3 ERA pitcher, you have a chance of having a .98 whip, right? So then maybe you should put the standard deviation for a player as the hover over. The standard deviation of what, though? Of, like, relative to them? Or relative to the league? Of the stats. So you're saying of league average, essentially. And you're saying, like, oh, they are doing that. Yeah, hold on a second. I gotta send that over. Yeah, so we'll talk later about that. It's not a bad idea, Andrew. But anyway, so 128 should be like a 145 actually if it's a 428. Anytime there's a big differentiation, generally it means that if home runs are higher, if ERA is higher, that means those hits were not just singles, they were home runs. If it was lower, like let's say he had like a 3 ERA but a 128 whip, it means that he prevented home runs and they allowed base hits and he was actually had a good left on base rate, right? This difference can tell you a lot kind of about what the tendencies are. So if we look into where is he? JT Brubaker. You're going to see that the home run fly ball rate, what do you know? 2 home runs per 9 and 22% home run fly ball rate. I swear to you, I didn't actually know that number, but we knew that number. Andrew, I hear what you're saying. I think it's a good idea. I think that's a pretty cool idea. And would do super well of like helping people understand like, hey, the league average of strike percentage is this. And hey, he ranks, you know, his among starting pitchers, his ERA ranks 23rd or something. Like, and here's the percentile of that. I think that's a really cool idea. I think that would be super helpful for everybody. But anyway, so going back to JT Brubaker, is he gonna lower these home run fly ball, this homer per 9, which is kind of crazy. He didn't allow too many fly balls, but when he did, they were home runs. That should come down. So a 4.87 I think is actually too high. I'm gonna have him as a 4.32. But the whip should get better too, right? So we're gonna say 1.26 for that. But everything else should be high. Actually, I think this should be up. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's gonna be like the workhorse of 272, 172. He's gonna be the workhorse of the Pirates. So that's how I see this. Let's put him at 29 and 168 then. Yeah. So don't care. Don't care. I gotta do these guys really quickly. Sure. I'm just gonna prove these. I'm gonna assume whatever they did well. We're gonna move on. Joe Musgrove. Going to the Padres. Like I don't care about these projections. You know? That really shouldn't be any different from what it is because yeah, they replaced these with Quintana and Zach Thompson, but Mitch Keller isn't the guy right now. It's this. So what I can do, I'll do this. I'll say Mitch Keller, instead of getting 15, like I think he should be involved, right? Like instead of 23, I'll say he gets 15. And actually I kind of like that he will be getting this many. I'm going to say I approve this and then take off some here. Right? Because then we're missing some starts and I'm going to say this is right. So if I'm saying that, I'm minusing 3 starts from this. So let's put that at 102. I'm saying, well, he's not starting, he's going to relieve. And then I'm bringing this down to 98. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something screwy going on with that stuff right now. I'm not exactly sure. Bryce Wilson didn't make the list. He's at 22 on it, but he's on 23. I don't know what's. Yeah, we're fixing that. You gotta understand that what happened was like we instituted some things and for a moment, then there were some bugs on it, but I kind of just said, look, like we're gonna figure it out. You know, for next year, there's all this other stuff that's way more important in the meantime. Ha. So actually, Sacris, it does, and I think it's the opposite because I think he's not going to get as screwed over. I think he's going to be not forced to go as deep because the Phillies bullpen should be better because it was just so dramatically terrible last year. That's how I see it. Oh, gotcha. It was based on this and didn't update for... That makes a ton of sense. I appreciate you so much, Furtree. So I'll have to... Yeah, okay. I'll have to do that. All right. Look at you, troubleshooter, man. You're amazing. So let's go to the Padres. Has this changed at all? Oh, they signed Nick Martinez. I didn't realize they had signed. I thought he was just a free agent that was going to come back. Yeah, Nick Martinez is such an interesting... He increases velocity. What a sleeper. Oh, Pyrell, you are a San Diego guy. I have no more coffee. Turn it into water. All right. So we have those four. Rayhan's got Tommy John. So Paddock, where are you at? Are you in the minors? Oh my lord. So this is fascinating. Because I should be projecting all of them. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some 6-man as they want to ease in Paddock and Clevenger. Like, everyone got hurt last year. So let's just limit all the starts as much as we can. Man, I was so into Ryan Weathers at first because in the first game I saw it. I thought of it as a slider with legit whiff potential and a fastball that is mid to upper 90s that he was commanding kind of well. But over time, it kind of showcased to me like, no, Nick, the slider actually isn't that good as it was against the Dodgers. And the fastball gets hit too hard. And there isn't much else. I wouldn't rule out that Weathers, he's young. And things can change. He can learn a changeup. He can improve the slider, Happens all the time. Oh, yeah, and then there's also Denison Lumet. Oh, my God. So, all right. So on this, I have to... Denison Lumet. I need to make sure it's added to this, too. Oh, gosh. Where is he even listed here? In the bullpen. Yeesh. I don't need to list Gore here. I don't care. I'm not putting Gore in. Yeah. I'm not making a projection for him, dude. I have no idea. You're not gonna use our stuff for Gore. Anyway, Joe Musgrove. Oh, come on. Don't do that. This was his first year in San Diego, wasn't it? Let's get rid of these. Man, I remember this time last year, like I had him in like the mid 40s and that was aggressive, I was like, guys, everyone should be getting John Means and Joe Musgrove. Those are my two guys. Like, you should be getting them. And then I had to change my tune because everyone and their mother then became... I mean, I'm sure people were before me. I'm not saying that I transcended it, but it became like the thing. It's like, oh, now Joe Musgrove's like 35 and stuff. It's like, well, now it's going too far. Like, it better work. And I'm glad it did. It was just, it was funny. Yeah, she will, but it's like, I can't project that. I don't know how to project it. I have no baseline. Whatever they put in for him, sweet. I'm gonna trust your judgment, guys. So anyway, slider is just that good, and he realized how good it was and threw it 30% of the time. I mean, it's an amazing offering. Curveball, same way almost, but it's not as efficient as the slider. Surprisingly enough, not a good O swing on it. Lots of good zone rate. Super Slide, thank you so much for the follow, man. Now, here is what I think the problem is with Joe Musgrove. And I know this is going to shock a lot of you guys. His fastball got hit a lot. Okay? But what I think happened is I think he actually needs to throw it slightly more. Which I know sounds really weird. But I think he needs to figure out exactly how to sequence it in with this stuff. He tried to do it with a cutter. And the cutter got hit. So, like, his four-seamer and his cutter got hit. Right? My philosophy, I believe that this number will go down if he knows how to throw it and isn't, I guess, maybe not as predictable at times. I've seen so many at-bats with Joe Musgrove where he just throws only sliders and curveballs, and guys are like, I know how it's going to break every time. Like, you become so predictable that I recognize it's out of the hand, and I know, and now I know the four-seamer. And you have to mess with them a little bit more than the current sub 30% of fastballs, right? So I don't know. I think there's tweaking to be had with Musgrove just about approach and sequencing in general. But honestly, like, I don't really see why much of this changes. So I'm going to say he's a 3.55 with a 1. Let's go 116. Nah, 114. Strikeout rate stays up though. What do you know? I'm in on Joe Musgrove. Yeah, this is all fine. Yeah, I don't think he reverts back to that stuff. Yeah. Pyro, what was that? That's exactly how Joe fell. What was that in reference to? I missed that. That's not good these days. Is it old Paddock or a new Paddock? Let's go to Darvish. Darvish is going to be the weirdest projection of them all. Why are you doing that? There you go. Get the favicon. Wow. I'm very surprised to see that. Strike rate is too low. That's really shocking. When you have a 51% zone rate and just a 65, yeah. Overuse of break. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like they got complacent with it and then they were able to hit the feeder more. But if they're like more on their toes about the four-seamer, then it's weird. Yeah, so Sacris, if you actually kind of see, I saw a command plus of Darvish start by start from Max Bay, who's amazing, and the guy who made it for command plus was like an absolute wreck. Like some games it was amazing, then back and down, up and down after the sticky stuff ban, which I would imagine if I really believed in the sticky stuff being such a huge deal that it would just be down. But the fact that he was volatile makes me more encouraged that over the offseason he'll harness more of the high than the low, right? Yeah, maybe the different ball thing, right? I mean, oh god, I don't even know what to do with that. I've just ignored it. But what do you know? 422 and a 109. You guys know what that means? High home runs. And by the way, Kyle, I meant to comment to you before. Check out the hair and the beard. Yeah, there's a lot of hair and a lot of beard. I was thinking of keeping all of it until PL7 launches. Then I realized I need to be presentable for PitchCon. I'm gonna be throwing myself in front of this for 4 straight days, to over 100 people and stuff. But like, yeah, you know what? Probably need to get a haircut and shave a good amount of the beard for that. So I'll see you guys clean shaven for that. Not clean shaven. My God, never. I look terrible clean shaven. I look too young. I look like a baby. When I'm clean shaven, I hate it. Gotta have some grit. Anyway, cutter is the strike pitch, but also the one that hung up too much. It's crazy to me. Like, it is such a filthy offering, but it destroyed him a lot. It would actually hang like right around there all the time, like right up there, you know? And that's a problem. Slider is just, this is the one he should be throwing more. I don't know why he doesn't. I think also Inside Edge has trouble classifying it. Let's see what. So for example, they classify it as just only sliders and not even as a cutter, really. That's pitch info. Pitch FX has it as cutters and sliders different and a larger gap between the two. So take it what you will, but yeah, the slower slider, the slower version is a better one. High strike rates though, and on the fastball, which is really honestly is shocking. I think it's just like that's harnessing it. The slow curve is fine, but it's he doesn't really get strikes enough, not enough high O swing on it. He doesn't get the called strikes he wants. Splitter shows up and it can be very filthy, but again, not consistent. Really, the story to me about Darvish is you gotta have a good enough fastball. You gotta really like hone in on the heater. Excuse me. I mean, he was throwing at 95 in 2020. The cutter needs to just not get crushed too. I mean, the cutter got crushed and then it didn't. You know, that's the story. Depends on how much we believe that. I think we should believe in a good renaissance from Darvish. It's going to be volatile. A 3.8 isn't the worst projection. This is actually a really good projection, I think, for you, Darvish. Very conservative. I might say the ERA will be a little bit better, but I think this is pretty dang solid. What do they have him at? Ha! 3.8, 116. We have 115. That's funny. And we have more innings and starts, which I agree with. 27% though is too low on the strikeout rate. I'm gonna say it's a 29.5. But it's but yeah, this seems right to me. I actually would argue it should be a 30.2 if we're saying that the ERA gets better. Yeah, that's you, Darvish. Blake Snell. Do you know if PitchCon's gonna be on YouTube or Twitch? It's gonna be on Twitch. It's gonna be here. We're not doing any live streaming on YouTube anymore. After that issue, those issues, not even touching it. Well, we're gonna put them all on YouTube after. But yeah, it's gonna be, it's all here. Should never have tried, I guess. But yeah, PitchCon's gonna be here. Blake Snell, I'm gonna be super favorable for. So the story of Blake Snell, I'm actually not even going to use the stats and stuff because like it's really just, actually, you know what, I can show you this. Yeah, it's pretty much two halves. There was a moment, I think it was in August. Where is it? It's this game. If you read the blurb of this is everything, I think. They say Insanity is trying the same thing and expecting different results, and it couldn't be more thrilled to see Blake Snell doing something different against the Diamondbacks, featuring near even fastball slider split as his curveball and changeup are put on the bench. 3 curveballs, 1 changeup. And what happened? 19 whiffs, 25, like 43% CSW, got a golden goal. Because the previous start, 9 curveballs. I mean, he did it, but the slider was the thing, like slider wasn't being thrown enough. And here we saw curveballs, not sliders, only 25% usage, 50% usage on sliders. So what do you do next time? He threw more curveballs. He didn't have the slider as good. And I was like, oh, why are you doing that? Okay, fine. But hey, it wasn't bad. 37% CSW. So sure, all right, you know what? Not so bad. Then he went back to it again. This wasn't as good of an outing. But it's still very good. I'm still happy with this. Like 25%, right? No change-ups. Keep that in mind. I've been dreaming of no change-ups since 2018 when I came up with the Blake Snell blueprint. Here we go again. No change-ups. Success. Now back to more and actually not even a single change-up. Right? Beautiful. And then he got hurt. So, I mean, that's different. If I look at, like, here. Look at this. 10 changeups. We're in here. 14. Right? This is a different guy. 18. This is the Met start. This is when he stopped throwing the changeup and he had success. And then he reverted back to throwing more changeups again. Drove me nuts. So, why am I talking so negatively about the changeup? 429 batting average allowed. Sub 50% strike rate. Why? Why are you doing this? And it wasn't how it used to be. Like, this used to be actually very effective for him. But the slider is just this good of a pitch. Now, the strike rate is the question of Snell's slider. I don't know. That's a good question, but I don't look at catcher stats. I don't do that. I think it's, you know, you can get lost in the weeds of that. The curveball is interesting to me. I imagine the approach, yeah, it's hyper 2 strike, which is, I'm fine with that because it does have the 20, sorry, not that, this is actually not as high of a swing strike rate as it should be. It should be like those. Fastball is really good though, guys. I've underrated how good Snell's fastball is for a long time. I will also say, yeah, I remember that the timeout thing, that was after the Met game. That was after the Met game. I know that exactly. It's a wonderful quote. I was so happy and thrilled, and then he just didn't continue it. Anyway, zone rate it's interesting because he did shift to just throwing zone fastballs all the time. And didn't really care about nibbling anymore, which I loved to see. So I'm buying in on Blake Snell. I don't think it's this. I'm actually pretty comparable with him and Yu Darvish. So I'm going to give them pretty much the same. I'm going to say slightly lower whip though. But I think a slightly better ERA is going to even out. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, worse whip because there will be some. It's not going to be a 10%. He's not a 10% walk guy. I'm going to say it's a 9.2. It's going to be lower than that, honestly. Like, what were the walks here? Not nearly as many. I'm going to say 9.2. I'm going to give you the 28.7. So, yes, I do prefer Darvish, by the way. But I'm very much in on Snell, too. Nola was injured half seasons. Catchers were all mixed up. And used person catcher Carantini. Oh, yeah. So I am going to be doing another thing at the end. I'm not doing it now. I don't love projecting wins and quality starts because I think it's such a minefield. But yeah, I need to do it. So I'm doing all of these like this, just like my mentality of them. And then I'm going to do a giant win quality start thing. Keep in mind also wins quality starts are highly dependent on the other guys, pretty much like volume is. So I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, of course. No, it's a great question. I think honestly, if I started from the beginning again, I probably would have started with wins and quality starts. But I'm this deep, and this is how I'm doing it now. Then I'll do a quick overhaul. All right, we got 2 left, and then I got to jump. So we're going to do Chris Paddock and Clevenger now. Just going to say it's a 2-5. Yeah. All right. That's all I'm really going to do with Paddock. I think it's such a mystery that I'm not going to do anything more. I think he's better than that. No. Let's say 130 with 17 starts. We don't know when he's going to return. No, more than 17. 22. And I think that's better than 24.5. Like, this is a 26.3, man. That's that. Hey, what's up, Maximo? Good to see you. But yeah, I don't see why Mike Clevenger doesn't I mean, what's the news on this? What's the new info on Clevenger? All right, what's this? Huh. Hey guys, quick question. This CTA here. This guy at the bottom, right? Subscribe now. Is that... how much do you guys focus on this stuff? I've always wondered like how we should be pushing PL Plus on the site. This is an interesting CTA. I mean, we currently have just an ad there, but I always think about that stuff. Anyway. Oh, thank you so much, Sacris. Has been thrown on flat ground. Yep. When was that dated? Oh, okay. There's a rotation spot waiting for him. Like, why wouldn't this be? I'm essentially going to say this. September 8th. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. I imagine he'll be all right. Let's just go with that. 25-140. You know, I think he should be really good, guys. I think Clevenger is getting way overlooked in NFBC. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for them this morning, guys. I gotta rest my voice. I'll hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be back at like 5 o'clock to do Seattle one. Do these guys, and then tomorrow morning we knock out the final ones. Now Lumet. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is because you have to excuse me. Because this doesn't have free agent stuff, I'm waiting for the for a guy like Lumet. I'm probably gonna do close to launch because there are a lot of question marks with Lumet. How is he gonna be used? We're gonna have more quotes and more knowledge about that. So I'm gonna I have my list of guys that are missing, right? So Lumet's on here. Don't save that one. I won't save this one. Oh wait, there's no. Dang it. Did I... So is there someone else? No, there wasn't. Okay. It was just Ranzi Contreras that needed to... Okay, good. So... Yeah. I'm just gonna wait until close to it. Now, keep in mind, like... I'm gonna be trying my best to keep up with news and everything in spring training to hopefully adjust these. You know, if there's like a pitcher that goes down and I can kind of adjust in the back end, but I won't have a harsh, update until like March 20th. But like, yes, I have gone through everything again, fully for March 20th. So there's the first wave, which is early February when PL7 launches. Martinez is there. Martinez is actually at the very top. I'll put him with the team though. Oh, you guys can't see it. I'm sorry. Yeah, he was up there at the top. Like if I go back. Well, I can't. Fine, notepad. But yeah, I appreciate you, Furtree. You didn't see it. Nah, well, yeah, but you didn't. Don't be. I'm happy you're double checking like that. That's awesome. Why? This does everything I needed to do, which is just type and save it. I don't need to do code on it. It's fine. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll be back. I gotta record at 1 o'clock, and then I'll hopefully be back around like 5 o'clock or so. All right, Thanks so much for helping, guys. You're all the best. And as always, may your BABIPs be low and your strikeouts high. I'll see you guys.